Hello, something guys and gals. This is Something Guy 912, and this is Quantum TV and Acerthorn, two relatively unknown dudes when it comes to the YouTube ecosystem, at least until their respective egos got the best of them when it came to criticism regarding Elden Ring. Their takes on that game were, well, let's say not the most informative when it comes to understanding the issues with Elden Ring, real or perceived. But the point of this video isn't to point out the flaws of their criticisms regarding it, as so many have, but rather the wrath these people in turn face by daring to criticize their handiwork. Normally when it comes to dealing with backlash on any given opinion on something, there's a number of ways to handle it. You can either address it formally, ignore it, double down on your opinion, and then there's the life ruination side of handling criticism. Because you see, Acerthorn and Quantum TV not only have a warped sense of purpose in what they're doing, but also how the YouTube community guidelines works, such that they will abuse it to take down channels like Mischief and the Actman for the cardinal sin of replying to their poorly received review of Elden Ring. The only problem with doing this is when that tactic of life ruination comes back to bite you, like it has for so many others who have attempted doing it to silence their critics. As the saying goes, you live by the sword, you shall die by it. Now, I could retrace the same talking points that many others have already expressed regarding this drama, how Quantum TV or Acerthorn is a scumbag who talks a big game about honesty, yet lies and smears both the Dark Souls community and the like, that abusing the already nebulous and dysfunctional YouTube flagging system, knowing it is fundamentally flawed to be equally scummy in nature. But as I said, this isn't why this topic fascinates me. You see, what I find so interesting about this drama circus is how it all culminated by something so minuscule. By all accounts, Quantum TV or Acerthorn didn't even need to make a big stink about this. Their videos would have gone to ridicule and most would have moved on peaceably to the veritable sinkhole of the YouTube autoplay. In their attempts to shut down the conversation, it only escalated the topic further into the mainstream consciousness, and in turn completely marred their credibility. Because assuming that their Elden Ring reviews were left as is, most would just have the takeaway that they had some peculiar opinions about the game that didn't translate to the game itself. But now, their names have become the very hallmarks of the Streisand effect, and most get to see their mask-off approach to when dealing with criticism. If it was too much for them to respond to the criticism in kind, they simply could disable comments on their videos, or just let it pass by them like the wind. Yet, they didn't, and had gone on a vigilant crusade against the detractors who dare sully their good name, when they didn't realize that the Emperor has no clothes in this scenario. Going on a tangent, but a lot of my poems that I write on the side of making videos often has me dig into the mechanisms of human psychology, how we can be driven to pettiness, that our pride gets in the way of seeing the bigger picture, or how a lack of decency will have us descend to further acts of apathy for others. In a way, this entire debacle is a microcosm of these human natures. Quantum TV and Acerthorn had already convinced themselves both that they were in the right for having gone after those they perceived as having wronged them, and nothing short of a harsh comeuppance would elucidate them to the truth of the matter. In noticing these little molehills across their fields, they felt it necessary to dig them out, only causing a mountain to form from behind them. And all because they simply couldn't take it where they dished it in regards to criticism of a single video game. I have to wonder now, if I had them in the room, if it was all worth it, to have made your bed on this campaign of lies and destruction, all to maintain the validity of their statements on a video that now neither of which even stand by? I imagine that they couldn't swallow their pride to admit that it wasn't. Such is the gambler's fallacy. You've already dug your heels in, might as well pretend there was a golden mine in the end. But if I could go back to the moment they hit upload on their respective videos, and told them this would all culminate if they didn't take the criticism in stride, I'm absolutely certain they either would claim it wouldn't even happen, nor worth the stress if it did. Sometimes I ask myself if the bouts of anger and frustration that I spew forth at times is worth the energy wasted to do it. Do I only say it does so that my rage is justified? If I knew that one day one of these moments would bring me down a path I couldn't simply back out of, could I even stop myself short of doing it? I think the biggest takeaway from this video you should learn is that you shouldn't treat the innocuous as obnoxious. If you know that there is a sensitive topic that will aggravate you, it's more ideal not to go searching for it, lest you let your elephants control every action henceforth. If you can handle criticism levied at you, even if you still believe yourself in the right, that you should handle it in a way that won't make you out to be the schoolyard bully of the week. And if you can't, there are simply healthier ways to disengage from the conversation instead of forcing others to disengage from it with legal action. And all of my moments of anger, I was able to control it in a way that didn't make me do something I was going to regret later, even if I can go on record saying that I've said less than flattering remarks towards certain communities at times. Furries. Because ultimately, emotions are like waves in an ocean, and to control them, you have to ride with them, not against them. Otherwise, you end up like Quantum TV and Acerthorn, riding on a torrent to their own sealed fates.